Sponsored by Squarespace. During the Qing dynasty, Qianlong Emperor once disguised himself as a civilian and took a vacation in the Jiangnan region of China. One day, he was lost in a slum, cold and hungry. Luckily, a local beggar was kind enough to help, sharing his food with him. It was a dish called beggar's chicken, basically a seasoned chicken covered in clay and cooked in an open flame. Supposedly, the emperor fell in love with the dish and it became a staple in his imperial kitchen. The story is, of course, fictional. However, the legitimacy isn't important. The fact that the story is popular is an indication of a preferred belief. That being Chinese cuisine is grassroots. A beggar with no fancy utensils or luxury ingredients can still impress an emperor. All he needs is his body and mind. Cooking is a kung fu in its most literal sense. It's the skill, not the weapon. That's why you often hear Chinese people complain about French cuisine being too pompous.
I swear, French people especially are the absolute best at hyping their cooking up.
But I digress. Naturally, there exists an entire genre that takes this belief literally, combining the two best things from China, kung fu and cooking. Today, let's take a bite into this spectacle and see how the kung fu spirit is reflected in one of the most unexpected places. Sit back and feast your eyes on this. It's hard to know when the association between kung fu and cooking began. Even in China's first wuxia novel, Water Margin, food occupies a great deal of importance. Characters are introduced by the food they ordered at a tavern, and if they order a large amount of beef, it means trouble. A more recent example would be the 1957 wuxia novel, Legend of the Condor Heroes. Hero and Huang Rong learn kung fu by offering to cook for a martial arts master. In the mind of writer Jin Yong, the best food has just as much value as the best secret technique in kung fu. This connection will be strengthened over time. In the 1979 movie of Cooks and Kung Fu, one of the main characters is an imperial cook. He invented a type of kung fu that was inspired by the movements and techniques of cooking. This reflects a popular idea that everything is kung fu, thus merging cooking and kung fu into one. With ingredients already in place, in 1996, director Stephen Chow would bring it all together in his comedy classic, The God of Cookery. Let's take a closer look. Stephen Chow plays an arrogant chef ousted by his business partners. Upon losing everything, Chow is rescued by a group of working-class people. Touched by their kindness, Chow rebuilds his life, slowly learning to be a kinder man. It all leads to a cooking tournament in which Chow learns the true meaning of being a cook. It's impossible to overstate how influential this movie is. By adapting elements from anime, from the flashy night play to the high-energy cooking, as well as the foodgasm montage, this movie defined the genre's aesthetic. There's too much to talk about. For now, I want to focus on two things. Here is the first one.
真係去咗中國廚藝訓練學院？唔好扮啊！中國廚藝訓練學院即係少林寺嘅廚房。
The idea that Shaolin produces the best cook directly echoes the belief that cooking is kung fu. In wuxia literature, Shaolin is a sacred place where people hone their body and mind to their peaks. It is also where secret techniques are closely guarded. The combination of body, mind, and technique is why Shaolin produces kung fu masters. And since cooking is implied to be another form of kung fu, logically, Shaolin also has the best cook.
It's spritzing on my hand, the oil! How do you cook this every time?
This leads us to the second point I want to focus on: body, mind, and technique. There are two dishes made in the final battle. Chow's barbecue pork rice, a cheap and common dish, against Buddha jumps over the wall, a dish full of expensive ingredients. It echoes the grassroots ethos. The dish is good because of Chow's skill and, more importantly, his mind. Indeed, the reason Chow made barbecue pork rice is because that was the dish he ate when he was saved by his new working-class friends. This experience enlightened him. All of the classic kung fu movies explores the higher purpose of martial arts, be it a tool for the protection of a nation or an art to inspire courage. The same kind of lesson is being taught here, that the best dish is the one made by the best people. With this, cooking was imbued with the aesthetic and the philosophy of kung fu. A genre was born. In Chinese cooking, a dish is evaluated by 3 criteria: its color, its aroma, and its taste, in that order. The visual aspect is how you make a good first impression.
真係手輻射咁喎，睇見就想嘔啦！你仲話叫我食0分。
If you have a restaurant, it is vital to present your dish before anyone makes an order. That's why you need a website from Squarespace. A good impression is, of course, important for all businesses. Luckily, Squarespace has a myriad of templates to help you make your website nice and professional. You can even turn it into an online store or make it into an interactive menu. The entire process is made simple by the fact that Squarespace offers tutorials for everything you need. And if that doesn't help, you can always contact the 24/7 customer support. Start your free trial at squarespace.com/accentcinema. Use the code accentcinema to get 10% off your first purchase. You have all the tools you need to build a website in your free trials too. It's like a full-course meal just for a taste test. So whether it's business or personal, if you need a website, choose Squarespace. In 1997, an anime took China by storm. That anime was Chuka Ichiban. The story revolves around a group of cooks in China battling against an evil underground culinary organization while hunting for some legendary cooking utensils. Yeah, it's Japanese, you gotta have a legendary blaze somehow. Sure, it wasn't the first food anime to go viral in China. In fact, the God of Cookery was loosely inspired by 1987's Mr. Ajiko. But Chuka Ichiban is different because it is about Chinese food. It has a heavy emphasis on cooking techniques, which matches with the spirit of Kung Fu cooking. As a result, its influence would seep its way into the genre. 2009's Kung Fu Chefs, for example, features a legendary utensil that chooses its wielder, dishes that freaking explodes, and even some Japanese dishes. Yet, despite these influences, this movie feels way more like a Kung Fu film than The God of Cookery. Sammo Hung plays the head chef of a village, wielder of the dragon cleaver. In a struggle for power, Sammo's food was poisoned by his pupil. As a result, he is ousted from the village. With nowhere to go, Sammo wanders the world until he meets an ambitious young martial artist whom he decides to pass on all of his knowledge onto. The film ends with a cooking tournament in which the young man must prove his and his master's worth. From the summary, it's not hard to see how the story parallels a wuxia story. It's about vengeance and power struggles, but with restaurants instead of clans. It's about passing the torch from master to pupil. Not to mention, the movie has actual kung fu. If those premises sound familiar, it's because you all watched Kung Fu Panda, a movie that faithfully adopted many kung fu cliches. Following the footsteps of Chuka Ichiban, this movie also puts its emphasis on techniques, which greatly benefits its story. Sammo Hung refers to the simple art of cutting, like learning how to punch.
至於刀法如果略通，冚、躲、劃、拍，已經無礙於色味。如果想要做個好廚師，想咩材料用咩刀工，就要自己花啲時間琢磨啦。
It once again alludes to the belief that cooking is a physical discipline, all about techniques and not about recipes. In fact, there's not a single recipe in this movie.
我今日教你炒。
It's all about teaching the moves. Being a kung fu movie at heart, it of course has to uplift the art beyond the physical.
做菜唔難， 做人先啊。
It attempts to equate cooking with life, and that through the training of the body, one can become a better person. It almost works with Samuel's tragic background, but ultimately, the film only pays lip service to the idea.
其實將好低賤、好平常嘅食材烹調成珍品，正好就係川菜嘅大化之道，亦係我哋做人做事嘅至高境界。
It's a good idea, just not convincingly presented. That said, the film is limited by small budget, so blemishes are understandable. With good action that hits the spot, Kung Fu Chefs remains an easy watch. If you enjoy a good Kung Fu fight in a grocery store, this is the movie for you. Remember that bit about French cuisine in the intro? Yeah, let's talk about that. Released in 2017, Cook Up a Storm has an intriguing premise. In an old neighborhood facing gentrification, Sky works as a cook in an old restaurant. Sky grew up as an orphan. His father abandoned him, choosing to focus on his career as a celebrity chef instead. Because of that, Sky dedicates his life to cooking, hoping one day he can prove to his father that you don't have to be a bastard to be a famous chef. Things take a turn when Paul, a Michelin star chef, opens a creative modern diner across the street, driving Sky's business to the ground.
中餐虽然历史悠久，但是却十分保守，没有变化。300年前的麻婆豆腐跟现在做法是一样的，没有突破。而西餐不一样，西餐与时俱进，不断把新的技术融入到饮食里边。西餐保持了不断进取的创造力。
Oh shit. You didn't just say that. But is he wrong? While this movie has no fistfights, it's not hard to see the Kung Fu influence. It even has the cliché meditation fight. You know, the Donnie Yen and Jet Li fight in Hero, where the whole thing happens inside their heads. It's used in The Grandmaster as well. This is a Kung Fu movie with a wuxia theme, 天下第一, the best in the world. Sky wants to win, in particular against his father. Paul wants his Michelin stars, wide recognitions. And Sky's father lusts for fame. It drove him to abandon his own son. In Kung Fu and wuxia stories, if someone has ambitions for such a title, chances are they are misguided or a villain. You can see this play out in the film. Sky starts off unperturbed, knowing that his restaurant and the diner are not enemies. Yet the more he knows about Paul, the more he wants to win, to prove that Chinese cuisine is not inferior. As a result, the more he wants to make better food, the less he focuses on the purpose of it, leading to him losing to Paul in a tournament. So, what is this purpose of food?
因为这个馒头麦子是自己种的，面是我自己发的，所以我师傅觉得这是世界上最好吃的馒头。
Chinese food doesn't change because the familiarity of it is precisely the point. It doesn't matter if you are an emperor or a beggar, we all share the same food. It is the glue that holds people together. Remembering what his restaurant stands for to the people that are truly important to him, Sky, facing off against his father, makes yet another common dish: noodles. The same noodles his father made for him before he was abandoned. This is where the movie takes it one step further and genuinely surprised me. Instead of giving it to the judge, Sky gives it to his father, and then walks away. He abandons the fight and his chance for recognition like a wuxia hero after finding his purpose. Cook Up a Storm has the typical flaws of a 2010s Chinese blockbuster. Namely, it's aesthetically excessive. It's an overcooked movie. But when it looks good, it is genuinely beautiful in more ways than one. It's a simple movie just like the simple noodle. It's the heart that matters. Let's end this video with another story about Buddha jumps over the wall. Silly name, isn't it? Supposedly, when this dish was first made, the monks in a nearby temple noticed the aroma and climbed up the wall to see what's up, hence the name. That is a big part of Chinese cuisine. Behind every dish, there is a story. These stories reflect our values, beliefs, and desires, and since everybody loves Kung Fu, we put that in our food as well. The films we share today are, in its essence, more stories to be added to the mythos that is Chinese cooking. It's a craftsmanship, it's a way of life, it's a tradition, it is everything. And as we all know,
Everything is Kung Fu.